For this novel, I did a great deal of research. Before I started writing it, I could barely draw a stickman, and actually I can still barely draw a stickman. But I did a lot of studying of how to make art. I took some classes in drawing and painting. I studied a little bit of pottery as well. Besides that, I also spoke to a number of artists, both successful ones and ones who had struggled their whole lives but never quite made it. I wanted to get a sense of what it was to make art, what that feeling was. It was something that I had a sense of from the literary world, but I was interested in the visual arts and getting an inside view of that. I also read very widely, of course, all of the amazing and sometimes disturbing anecdotes about what artists get up to over time. And I spent a lot of time looking at pictures as well. My first novel, The Imperfectionist, was set in Italy, and this one begins in Rome too. I have an affinity for the country, and I also lived there for a long time. In each of the novels, the setting plays a very important part, but a different role. In the first one, it was a study of people in the news world who were living this strange expat lifestyle. In this one, it's the journey of a man who, when born, finds himself somewhat lost in the country that he's born in, Italy. He's not of Italian background, and he grows up there, very immersed in the culture, but not quite sure where he fits. And over the course of this novel, over the years and decades that are told of his life, he ends up moving around the world to different places, trying to find quite where he fits, both professionally and personally. When I read stories and when I write them, I would never want to have a lesson that I'm trying to teach. This book certainly doesn't have any lessons. It has lots of questions though, and one of the central questions is what it is to make great art, how you do it, and whether it's worth it, whether it damages people to such a degree that it can be justified culturally, but it can't be justified personally. I'm not sure really what the answer is, but what was interesting for me in writing this book is that when it came out, it was just around the time of the Me Too movement. It was a point where, for the first time really in centuries, people were scrutinizing the behavior of artistic people and asking whether their awful personal lives somehow discounted the quality of their work. I think it's a question that society continues to struggle with, and it's one that I wanted to look at very, very closely with this novel.